Listen up, Birds fans. We need to talk about what went down Thursday night against the Giants, and why this is actually a moment that shows exactly why Jalen Hurts is our guy moving forward. Yeah, the 34-17 loss stings like a Carson Wentz fumble in the playoffs. But hold up before you start spiraling into panic mode, because what happened in that post-game presser tells you everything you need to know about the heart of this franchise. When Hurts stepped up to those microphones after getting picked off by Cordale Flott in the second half, he didn't make excuses. He didn't throw anybody under the bus. He didn't blame the scheme or the play calling or the offensive line or the refs or anything else. He gave us two words that cut straight to the bone: bad ball. That's it. That's the tweet. Two words that demonstrate more leadership and accountability than we've seen from some quarterbacks in this city over entire careers. And if you've been following this team for any amount of time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now let me break down what actually happened on that critical interception, because context matters, and we're not just gonna sit here and pretend like one play lost us this game. The Eagles were running 11 personnel. That's one back, one tight end, 3 receivers for those keeping score at home, and they came out in duo formation with the tight end on the boundary line and doubles to the field. Hurts took a 3-step drop looking to hit a quick out route, and yeah, the ball placement wasn't perfect. It was slightly inside Dotson's shoulder when it needed to be on the numbers or outside. But here's where it gets interesting, because if you watch the all-22 tape, and trust me, I've watched it about 17 times already, Dotson's route got a little lazy at the top. It went completely flat instead of maintaining that proper angle. And in the NFL, that quarter-inch difference between good route running and okay route running is the difference between a completion and a pick six. But here's what's really important and what separates the pretenders from the contenders in this league. Even with the Giants bringing pressure on that play, A.J. Brown was sitting in the slot with inside leverage against man coverage. And if Hurts had seen it, if he'd gone through his progressions just a split second faster, that's 6 points on the board easy. Brown had his man cooked like a Geno's cheesesteak. Instead, we got the interception. Flott took it back into Eagles territory, and Cam Scatabo punched in his 3rd rushing touchdown of the night on the very next drive to basically put the game on ice. Down 10 with 11:25 left suddenly became down 17, and that's ball game in the NFL. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, and even then you're gonna need some serious fourth quarter magic. But wait, there's more, because that interception wasn't even the only time Hurts left points on the field Thursday night. He overthrew Devonta Smith on a deep ball that would have been a touchdown if it had been placed correctly, and Smith, being the elite route runner and ball tracker that he is, couldn't even get a hand on it because the throw was that far out of his reach. And what did Hurts say about that one? I didn't give him a good ball. Again with the accountability. Again with taking full responsibility. No excuses. No pointing fingers. Just a man looking in the mirror and admitting he came up short when his team needed him most. Now, here's where we need to inject some perspective and reality into this conversation, because Eagles Twitter is already losing their minds like we just went 0-16. We're 4-2, people. 4-2. Through 6 weeks of the season, we've got 2 losses. And yeah, one of them was to the Giants, which nobody saw coming and which absolutely nobody wanted to see happen. But let's not act like the sky is falling and we need to blow everything up and start from scratch. This is the NFL. Teams lose games. Good teams lose games they shouldn't lose. It happens. What matters is how you respond. And if there's one thing we know about Jalen Hurts, it's that the man knows how to respond to adversity. Let's talk about what makes this accountability thing so crucial, and why it actually makes me more confident in Hurts, not less. When your quarterback stands up there and owns his mistakes without hesitation, without trying to deflect or minimize or rationalize, that sets the tone for the entire locker room. That's the kind of leadership that defensive coordinators can't scheme against. That's the kind of culture that wins championships. Think about it. Every single player on that roster just watched their leader take full responsibility for execution issues that honestly could have been spread around to multiple people. The route running could have been sharper. The pass protection could have been better. The play calling could have been more creative. But Hurts didn't mention any of that. He said, "I didn't execute," and moved on. And that's exactly the kind of mentality this team needs as we head into the back half of the season. And speaking of execution issues, let's be real about something. Every quarterback in the league has games like this. Every single one. Tom Brady threw picks. Peyton Manning had ugly performances. Patrick Mahomes has looked completely out of sync at times. The difference between the guys who win Super Bowls and the guys who don't isn't about never making mistakes. It's about how you respond when things go wrong. And Hurts has proven time and time again that he's built different when it comes to responding to adversity. This is the same guy who got benched for Tua at Alabama and came back to lead them to a national championship. This is the same guy who got replaced by Gardner Minshew for a game and came back stronger. This is the same guy who took us to a Super Bowl. The man knows how to bounce back. Now let's look at what's coming up, because this is where things get really interesting and really urgent. Week 7, we're facing Carson Wentz and the Vikings, and if that doesn't get your blood pumping, then you might want to check your pulse. Wentz, the guy who was supposed to be our franchise savior, the guy who had one magical season before his body betrayed him and his decision-making fell off a cliff. That guy is coming to town with a Vikings team that's actually playing some solid football right now. This isn't just another game on the schedule. This is personal. This is a statement game. This is an opportunity for Hurts to show everyone exactly why he's the present and future of this franchise, while Wentz is just another journeyman quarterback trying to hold on to his career. The timing couldn't be more perfect, honestly, because the Eagles need to figure some things out fast. We don't have the luxury of a bye week to sit around and practice and tinker with the game plan. We've got to line up against Wentz and the Vikings in a matter of days, and that means Hurts and Kellen Moore need to get on the same page immediately about how to attack this defense and how to get our playmakers involved in ways that actually generate points. Because here's the thing, we've got too much talent on offense to be leaving points on the field. A.J. Brown is one of the best receivers in football. Devonta Smith is a stud. Jahan Dotson showed flashes before coming to Philly. Saquon Barkley is still doing Saquon Barkley things. The pieces are there. The execution just needs to tighten up. And based on everything we know about how Hurts prepares and how he approaches the game, there's absolutely no reason to think that won't happen. Let me tell you why I'm actually excited about where this team is heading, despite the ugly loss to the Giants. When you've got a quarterback who takes accountability like Hurts does, that's the foundation you build a championship team on. We've seen what happens when you've got a quarterback who makes excuses and points fingers and can't handle adversity. We lived through that era. We watched it implode in real time. This is different. This is a grown man who understands that the quarterback position is about more than just throwing touchdowns and racking up stats. It's about leadership and accountability, and setting the standard for everyone else in that building. The main thing, as Hurts would say, is that we're still in a great position to make noise in this conference. We're 4-2 with plenty of football left to play. The NFC East is still very much up for grabs. We've got the talent. We've got the coaching staff. We've got the culture. What we need now is to clean up the execution issues that showed up against the Giants. And there's literally nobody I'd rather have leading that charge than Jalen Hurts, because he's already shown he knows exactly where the problems are, and he's not afraid to own them. Think about what happens now. Hurts goes into the film room and grinds through every single snap from that Giants game. He's gonna see the missed opportunity with AJ in the slot. He's gonna see the overthrow to Devonta. He's gonna see the interception. And he's gonna work his tail off to make sure those mistakes don't happen again. That's who he is. That's what he does. And then he's gonna come out against the Vikings and show everyone exactly why the Eagles made him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in football. The beauty of this whole situation is that it's week 7, not week 17. We've got time to figure things out. We've got time to fix the execution issues. We've got time to get the offense humming the way we all know it can. And with Hurts at the helm taking full accountability and leading by example, I've got zero doubt that's exactly what's gonna happen. This isn't the end of anything. It's just a bump in the road, a learning experience, a moment that'll make this team stronger. When we look back on it in January and February, the defense is still playing lights out most of the time. The offensive line is one of the best in football when healthy. Our skill position players are elite. The coaching staff knows what they're doing. All we need is for the quarterback to execute at a higher level consistently. And guess what? We've seen Hurts do exactly that before. This isn't uncharted territory. This is just part of the process of building something special. So yeah, Hurts threw a bad ball against the Giants. He didn't give Devonta a good ball on that deep shot. He missed AJ wide open in the slot, but he owned every single one of those mistakes without hesitation, and that's why I'm not worried about this team long term. That's why I'm actually more confident now than I was before the game. Because when things go wrong, and they always go wrong at some point in every season, you find out who your real leaders are. You find out who's going to stand up and take responsibility versus who's going to hide behind excuses. We found out Thursday night that Jalen Hurts is exactly who we thought he was. A leader, a competitor, and the right guy to take this franchise where it needs to go. The Vikings game is coming up fast, and we need this dub desperately to get back on track and show the rest of the league that the Giants' loss was just a fluke, just one bad night, just execution issues that are easily correctable with the right preparation and focus. Wentz is going to be fired up to prove something against his old organization. The Vikings are going to be confident after their recent success, but the Eagles are going to be ready. Hurts is going to be ready. And we're all going to be watching when our guy goes out there and shows everyone exactly what accountability and leadership look like when you put them into action on Sunday. Fly, Eagles, fly. Make sure you smash that subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss any of our breakdown content as we head into this massive Vikings matchup. Drop a like if you believe in Jalen Hurts to bounce back strong. And here's my question for you. Do you think Hurts' accountability makes you more confident or less confident in him as our franchise QB? Drop more in the comments if you love the way he owned his mistakes, or drop less if you're worried about the execution issues. Let's get this conversation going, Birds fans.